welcome back to the channel. And as per usual for my cosplay videos, they start out with me in my bed with no makeup on and my hair a mess. I feel like that's the trend for these videos, so we're gonna stick with it. I am super excited to tell you guys that I will be going to C2E2 again this year, 2026. I'm doing another Critical Role cosplay, and since campaign 4 is the first campaign that I'm able to watch live, I will be cosplaying Laura Bailey's character Thimble. I feel like I can really do her justice, maybe even use my natural hair, which I would love. But since today is January 19th and the con is late March, I only have about 2 months to get this sorted. So the first step is getting organized. I kind of did my Pike cosplay last year without much organization. So this year, since I have such a tight deadline, I will be creating a Notion, which you guys can see me creating right now. I use Notion all the time, love it, and it really helps me keep things organized. So since I have to make so much of her cosplay and her outfit from scratch, I will be utilizing Notion to the best of my ability to get everything done. The very first thing that we are going to get started on, which I have actually started already and then kind of put down as my break was wild, is her knitted top. I have this wonderful pattern here, which of course, as per usual, I will put the credits down in the description, but I found this beautiful knitted tank top pattern with a hood, and it looks almost exactly like Thimble's character art. So that's what we're going for. And then we've got to make the shorts, we've got to make the accessories, we've got to make the leg warmer, we've got to make all sorts of stuff. So as soon as I can, we will be getting started on all of that. But I'm super excited to jump into this. I'll probably get started with the knitting tonight or tomorrow, because that's something I can do in my free time. And I'm super excited to take you guys along for another Critical Role cosplay build. All right, let's get started.
Roll that motherfucker!
So it's been a couple of days and I've been kind of working on and off, but so far I have almost all of the front panel done of the crocheted top, which is looking amazing. I'm so excited. But I will check back in with you guys once probably the full front half is all finished. So this was the start of an extremely long process. I did not have time or much time this quarter because of my school schedule, and I think overall this took me about 25 hours of work spanned over about 2 months. It looks way lighter on the camera, but you guys, it is snowing so hard outside. I've already been out to shovel once. We have like 6 inches of snow on the ground, and it's supposed to snow until the late evening. This is crazy. I'm sitting here knitting. I have the front of the shirt done. I'm starting on the back, but I'm just like, I'm in heaven right now. All right, guys. Well, the main body portion of the top has been finished. The neck portion and the hood is not done, but so far it looks pretty good. I like the detailing on the side. I am going to block it and shrink it so it's a little bit more fitted. I'm gonna get started on the mock neck and the hood, and hopefully this should be done like in the next day or two, which is fantastic. Guys, I had to stop my knitting because I just got to campaign 2 episode 118, and y'all know what happens there, and oh my god.
I don't know what to do with myself anymore.
Slow burn romances got me kicking my feet every single time. It's so cute. Oh my god.
Finally!
It is March 2nd, and I have finally finished the top. Well, almost. I still have to put the hemming on the armholes, but I have decided that I want to start on the leg warmer because I want to get as much use out of my yarn as possible, and I only have a little bit left. But look at how beautiful this top is. I'm obsessed with it. It took me 20.5 hours. So this was the piece that will be taking the longest. But look at like the hood and everything. This top is longer, but I've decided that I don't want to deal with hemming it. So I've tucked it in to like the band of my bra strap, which has actually created a really nice cropped look. I'm realizing now I might have to do some tattoo cover up because of my tattoo here, but I don't know, maybe Thimble has a poppy flower tattoo on her ribs, I don't know. But yes, I'm obsessed with this, how it looks like the mock neck with the banding on the sleeves. It's gonna be really nice and clean. The hood, which does like pop out in the back, which I think is really funny, but if I tuck it down in, then it doesn't do that. But I love this top. I think that this is like a top that Sarah Elise me would wear as a rogue. I'm in love with it, and I love the way that the hood flops back. I can't believe this is done. I'm so excited about it. So I'm going to hop into working on that leg warmer, and I will come back either when I run out of yarn or when it's finished. So I have made a ton of progress on the leg warmer in about, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half, but I have run out of yarn, which is saying a lot considering that I got that shirt done and pretty much like 75% of the leg warmer done in just one, like 1 pound skein of yarn. So I'm really happy about it. I'm gonna put on the progress that I have, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. So this is what I have right now. I have strangely large calves. I just always have. So what I'm doing now is I'm working on seaming the back together with some Y-stitch increases until I can meet at the back of my thigh. What I still have left to do is this band portion up here so that it will hug my leg and not run down, and then a finishing band on the ankle. But other than that, I'm super happy with this. I think it looks really good, and it's the same stitch as the top and the same yarn, and I've already ordered some more yarn that's getting here on Wednesday. So I'm very excited. I think it looks really good. Good morning. It is March 6th, 12:30 p.m. and I have finished the leg warmer. You can see how like large of a calf I have. I think it's hilarious. But this is done. My new yarn is here. So I am going to put the finishing touches on the armholes for the top. I'm gonna get started on this today, and I'll come back when it's all finished. All right, so I have finished the top with the side portions, the hemming of the armholes, which I'm so glad I did because it looks like so much cleaner now. But so all of the knitting for this project is completely done, which is such a relief because it took me so long. Other than that, today the floral foam I'm using for, oh, the camera's drifting. Oops. The floral foam I'm using to make her like little side pouch button thing is coming. So I will check back in with you guys once that gets here. And if it gets here late tonight, then I'll check in with you guys probably tomorrow-ish. But yeah, I'm so glad that this is done. It looks so good. It's, I love it. I love it. It is March 18th and nothing is finished, and we're about a week away. So I'm panicking a little bit. I started a new job and finals week got crazy, and then I got sick with a sinus infection that I'm still battling. So like things are just totally up in the air. But I have my fabric for my shorts and my bracers and my leg leather piece on order. I have all of the things that I need for that already gotten. I am going to start on the button right now as I have all the things that I need, and it takes about 24 hours for the air dry clay to cure. Other than that, it's just gonna be a push to the end. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish my wings. That is what I'm going to do last, because I can kind of do the cosplay without the wings if I absolutely have to. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get started on the button, and then hopefully tomorrow, after or in between work, we will finish it. If not tomorrow, it will be Saturday. All of my supplies for my shorts are getting here Saturday, and that means I have about a week to finish everything and get everything done. So wish me luck. So this was a relatively easy process. I had found a video on TikTok about how to do this ages ago, so I already knew how. So what I did was I used my pencil to kind of trace where I wanted these holes to go, and then I actually punched them out with a metal straw just to make my life easier. I then started covering all the floral foam with a thin layer of air dry clay. I did this in 2 layers. The first one dried super fast and still showed some of the texture of the floral foam. So I actually went back and put a second layer on afterwards. But you can see me here just smoothing it out. I then built up the lip of the button. I was doing this pretty messily as I knew I was going to be able to sand it down, but I did still go in with my fingers and some water to smooth everything out. I then made a bigger lip for the button by making snakes with the foam, flattening it out on my desk, and then just continually shaping until I had the depth and the roundness that I wanted for the button. I didn't really worry about the sides, as I was doing this in multiple stages so that the button wouldn't dry to my desk. So I have finished the preliminary sculpt. What I have done is the front, not the back. I am going to let the front dry, sand it down, do the back, let that dry, sand it down, then paint. This is for her little button shield. It's a little bit small, but I didn't have time to go back out and get a bigger flower foam, and also they all come in like packs of 4, and I only needed 1, so her button shield is just going to be a tiny little shield. Let it cure, sand it down, do the back side, sand it down, then paint it. So I realized that I could do something else tonight, which is make a pattern of my arm. This was so hard to do by myself. I've done it with other people, but by myself, this was so difficult to get the tape tight enough in, and then I ended up getting it too tight, but whatever. I have a mold of my arm, which is lovely, and I have sketched out a little bit her, but no, it's not fine. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm going to put this back on my arm, trace it out again, trace out the right bracer, the correct one. I'm gonna do that now, and then I'll come back and talk to you about it. Okay, so thankfully the bracer on the right arm is super easy. It's just a full bracer from the elbow down, so all I had to do was just mark a line to just before my elbow. So this is essentially my forearm pattern, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut on the seam lines, so where I think I can get some seams across, or what I'm going to do is I am going to dart it. I'm not going to futz around with this until I have my fabric. But essentially, I've got this one big long piece that is my forearm, which is super exciting. But now that I have this, I'm gonna recycle my trash and I'm gonna go to bed because I have 2 final essays to write tomorrow. So I will see y'all back probably on Saturday when we start on the shorts. I'll see you then. So it is March 19th. It's the next day. I have put a really not perfect coat of air dry clay on the back of the button, since the back of the button is not going to be seen, so really I just had to cover up the texture of the floral foam, and I'm gonna sand it down anyway. The front looks great. It looks like a button. It just needs to be smoothed out with some sanding paper and then painted to be that bright green of Thimble's little button shield. But that's what it looks like from the top. And then, oh no, I made a mark from my cup, probably because this Clay is still wet, but we're gonna let this dry, and then probably on Saturday, once it's fully cured, 48 hours, I'm going to sand and paint. Good morning. It is Saturday, March 21st, and not Olive, things today for sewing and other things are slowly arriving. So this morning what I'm going to do is the light green fabric for her little satchel, her leaf satchel, has arrived. So I'm going to mock up a pattern for a quick little satchel, sew that together. I only have a couple of hours to work today because I have to film a couple of auditions and I have to go to my big girl job. So the plan is to figure out the satchel today, just kind of compile everything together, and then tomorrow and Monday we're really gonna get started. But let's do as much as we can in the time that we have today and see where that gets us. Okay, so what I've done is I measured about the size of the diamond that I wanted on my person. And then I did some math and I made an equilateral triangle on the fold so that when I cut this, I will have 2 diamonds that I can use for the body of the purse. And then once I have the body of the purse's measurements, I will do the larger flap, which is what you see like in her character art. So we're gonna do this and then we're going to start sewing. Okay, so I've pressed my pieces and what I've done is I've cut the top off of one of them so that I can hem this side and it will be the opening. And then when I have the flap, what I'll do is I'll sew it to this corner and I can put my belt under here and then the flap will go over my belt so I can just flip up the front flap of the satchel and easily access the insides. I might add a little pocket. That sounds like a fun idea. So here you can see me pinning up and sewing that little pocket that I'm putting inside of this bag. I do apologize for the camera going in and out of focus. I have no idea what was happening with that and it just kept happening, so I couldn't fix it. I then pinned that into my pouch for my bag and sewed that all together, flipped it inside out, and we were all good to go. I have the body of my little satchel. It's pretty like messily hemmed. This one is really nice, but this one isn't gonna be seen, so I don't really care. But it's got the cute little pocket, which I'll probably use for like my keys or trinket trading, and then it's got the big pocket with a nice opening, which is awesome because this and the satchel that I actually used for Pike are going to be my main bags. So I'm not going to be bringing much with me, but I don't really need much. I just need some cash, my wallet, my keys, etc. But I can't really make any progress on this until my light green thread arrives, and that's arriving tonight because I don't want this very evident dark green seam on the front panel. So I'm gonna wait until my light green thread comes, and then we will probably make more progress on this tomorrow. But so far, we've got like half the bag done, which is amazing. I will see you guys tomorrow once more things arrive. Good morning. It is March 20. It's either the 21st or the 22nd. I don't know. At this point, I've lost track of days. I think it's the 22nd. Please disregard my hair. It is in beautiful rollers like a grandma so that I can film an audition later today and have my hair be all curly and pretty. But today the last few supplies are arriving. All of my fabric arrived last night. It's gorgeous. The leather, I'm so excited to work with it. It's not real leather. It's like that false vinyl stuff that you use for upholstery, but still really excited. So today, the plan is to finish the bag. I only have a couple of hours to work because I have to film this audition. So I'm gonna try and get as much done without like rushing it to... I don't want to rush for the sake of quality. So like I don't want to diminish the quality of my pieces just because I want to try and get a lot of stuff done. Today is my last day of the work week, so I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to really kind of get details in. But other than that, fabric's here. All of my new thread is here. Just waiting on stuff like the wig and the stuff for the needles, but that can happen later in the week. So today, the plan is to finish the leaf satchel and maybe get started on some of the bracers, which would be amazing. I'm gonna finish my coffee and let's get started. So I traced out my pouch that I had made previously onto my fabric and then did a bunch of math to make sure that this flap would be the right size that I wanted it for. I cut out 2 pieces, sewed them together, flipped them right sides out so that I would have a lined flap that would give it more stability. I then hand sewed with a mattress stitch that flap together so that you couldn't see any of the seams, and pressed it, of course. So instead of doing what I said I was going to do yesterday and waiting for my light green thread, my Kelly green thread, I actually just made 2 of these big triangles and seamed them together and then mattress stitched by hand the corner once I flipped them inside out. And that way it actually gave the flap a little bit more heft to it as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do some math, and I am going to make a smaller square of my dark green thread so that I can do that little dark green patch of the leaf. And then once the Kelly green thread gets here, then I will do the embroidery and attach my beautiful piece. So once I had that dark green diamond all cut out, I went and I sewed it on using a regular running stitch, and then I actually went over that with 2 rows of decorative feather stitching, as I wanted it to be a little bit more decorative on the bag instead of just a flat running stitch. So I have the flap done. My sewing machine got a little angry at me, and I don't know why, and it wasn't appreciated, but after some cleaning, she calmed down. But so what I have done is, there was a lot of trial and error in this. I cut like 3 squares and tried this multiple times. But what I did was I used a feather stitch. Let's see. And I did 2 rows, 1 to secure it and then 1 to make the edge a little bit nicer and so that it wouldn't fray. I'm actually kind of loving this like little asymmetrical vibe she's got going on. I think it's gonna look actually more like a leaf rather than just rhombus on my rhombus on my triangle, a rhombus on my hip. But now what we're gonna do, the back, doesn't matter what it looks like. See, she got all angry. Miss Bobbin got all angry up in here. But I need my Kelly green thread to arrive because I need to do the like leaf embroidery on this first before I can attach this. So this is on pause until my other thread comes tonight, but now we are going to start on the bracers. Okay, so here's my right bracer pattern, and what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to split it down the middle so that I can have 2 different pattern pieces. I should have marked this first. Hold on, before I do anything. Thank God I have like a centimeter left. Now I can finish slicing her in half. Now I have 2 pattern pieces that I can then put on leather. Now we're going to get out our beautiful leather and pattern these pieces out. All right, so I have the right base, or I have the base of the right bracer done. I have been at this for hours trying different like recreations of this, what I want the detailing to look like, and to be honest, I'm getting frustrated because none of it is working. So I am gonna take a break and I'm gonna eat and I'm gonna film my auditions, and if I have time before work I'll come back to it, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put a hem or like a bias tape out of leather scraps on the edges and call it good, because I don't want to deal with this right now. I'm just frustrated and hangry. So I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna film my audition, and I'll come back to this if I have time. But we've made a good amount of progress today on the things that I wanted to make progress on, so that's good. The dowels that I'm going to use for her needles came, and it looks perfect for the little one, and I'll probably stick 2 together for the bigger one. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mold a pinpoint onto the base with air dry clay. So that way it will still be con compliant and not hurt anybody. But now I'm going to glue in the dowels into the floral foam balls and let them cure so that we can get started on these. So these floral foam balls are now curing with E6000 on the end, so that they will stay on the dowels. And then I have my one other dowel that I'm going to stick onto this one to make it 2 feet. These are wood foot long dowels. I didn't want to get longer dowels because I do not have access to a saw, so I didn't want to have to be dealing with dowels that I can't cut. So I just thought, might as well just glue them instead. It makes it easier. That's going to be one of the last steps. I'm actually going to cover these in floral foam first because they are the softest I'm going to cover the floral foam in air dry clay first because these are the softest floral foam balls I have ever encountered in my life. They basically like just imprint on touch. You can see like a couple of my fingerprints there just from trying to get them out of their packages. But those are going to dry. We have our bracer done. I might paint on some details, some shadowing and stuff, but we have our arm warmer, we have the 2 pieces of our satchel, and for today, I think this is pretty good. Also, I got both of my auditions filmed that I needed to film today, and so really, I'm just waiting for some finishing touches stuff to arrive, and then for school to open tomorrow so that I can go print out the pattern for the shorts. And then it's just on to like details and painting and stuff, and we're all good to go. So I'm very, very excited, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Good morning. It is March 23rd, and today we have lots of things to get done. I want to finish up the leaf satchel bag. I want to finish as much as I can the bracers, and I want to sculpt the needles with the air dry clay, and I want to go to school and print out the shorts pattern so that we can get started on that tomorrow or maybe tonight, depending on how much I get done. But I also don't want to overwhelm myself, so I want to give myself enough like breaks in between doing things. But that's the plan, and we're already getting a late start, so it is time to skedaddle and start working. So I have finished putting the air dry clay on my needles, except for the point on this one. I have like just enough clay that isn't dried from the container to do that point. So I'm just gonna wait for these to dry. My sandpaper got delayed, so I had to order more sandpaper that hopefully will be here by today so that I can sand the button. The paint for the button is coming tomorrow. So today we are going to finish the bag, which is what I'm gonna do right now. Then do the arm bracer, and then go over to school, print out my shorts pattern, and then get started on the shorts. Also, I'm on the second to last episode of Campaign 2 right now. I have a couple of episodes to catch up on for Campaign 4. I couldn't help myself. I'm like in the middle of the first phase of the Lucian fight. So I will be eyes glued to this screen when I'm not
doing this. Just amazing final arc, by the way. Like, the amount of times that I had my jaw on the floor was not fair. We're gonna move these to a safe space, and then we're gonna start on the back.
Never mind, because I thought my sewing machine came with a free motion foot. It does not. It only comes with the darning foot needed for the free motion, which I think is a little weird, but nevertheless, I have ordered it and it is coming tomorrow very early in the morning. So we are paused on this, but what we can do is we can start patterning for the bracers. So I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna put away all of my sewing machine bits and pieces so I don't lose things, and then I will start patterning for bracers. I have my left arm pattern. Her bracer on her left arm is a little bit more intricate. It goes all the way down to like halfway across her palm. You can see all the saran wrap marks. So I did have to tape up my hand, which was frankly very difficult, but I got through it. So I have this is a extra line, disregard it. I have half of what it's going to look like, and what I'm going to do is I'm gonna cut that out, and then I'm gonna essentially just cut it on a fold so that we can get one nice singular piece, because I am sick and tired of trying to seam this together without proper vinyl tools. I have my left bracer piece, and now I'm just going to cut it on the fold and see what we come up with. I'm doing all of this by the skin of my teeth, y'all, and I'm sure that there are probably better techniques, but I didn't look them up. We're learning as we go. Okay, so I've got this piece for this bracer, and I can't do anything else with it until the straps get here tomorrow, but it looks pretty good. And again, I'm still considering doing like some oil paint washing and making it look like it has a hem, but for right now, this is what it looks like. And now we're gonna get started on my leg, which is going to be a much more difficult process, I think. So I have my leg bracer done, except for a couple of details like some painting, maybe some hemming or some leather details. I might actually put sew a leather strap up here, just if I have any extras left over. I know I bought 8, so I have 2 left over. I need 6 for my arm bracers, so I might be able to put something on this just to kind of spice it up, and then do some painting, but I think I'm gonna take a little break, eat some lunch, do some editing, and then I am gonna head over to school and print out the shorts pattern. So I'm realizing I've done all this and I haven't put most of it together, and I should probably give you all a progress update. Note that these shorts are not what I will be using, and they are far too short, but they're like the only green shorts I have. So they're kind of like our little placeholder for now. Also, I'm wearing as many bells as I own, and I'm not sure I know I'm gonna have my boot bells, which are this sound, but I don't know if I'm gonna wear my side bells. I just put all of my fairy bells on, so, yeah. But so far, this is what we have. Without the bracers on this arm, feel a little bit bare on this side, but overall, my shorts are way too short, so please disregard. I do have some leg warmers coming that are going to allow me to lengthen this if I want to, and the short pattern that I just whistled. The short pattern that I have, the shorts go down to here, which is perfect. These shorts are so tiny. I love them for the summer, but not for this cosplay because my full booty's out. But I don't know, I think it's looking pretty good so far. I am very happy with this, even in its non-detailed phases. And for a con crunch with such a busy year that I've had, this is actually really great. I'm loving it so much. I've got the hood, which I love. So I'm very excited. I don't think I'm gonna wear these. I think they're too loud. But I do love my boot belts, so I think that those are gonna stay. So yeah, I think this bag is gonna look awesome once it's finished. This is just the flat piece, and then I'll have my button and my needles here. I'm not sure where I'm gonna put this bag. I might put it under the button or like more on this hip, have both my bags be on this hip. I'm not entirely sure. It'll be a day of thing depending on how much I need to put in here. I was also debating like putting my corset on under this to give it like a little bit of structure. That might be something that I do. I love Thimble's character art, but I feel like D&D character art never has enough armor. Who knows? I might put this on. I might try it with my pike corset, although that one goes like all the way down to here, and this one kind of cuts off right here. And I do still want to show some midriff because that is on her character art. And I've recently lost like a solid amount of weight, so I'm pretty proud of it, and I want to show it off. So I don't know, I might play around with this, but I'm really loving this. It's coming together perfectly. Okay, I'm gonna go change, and then I'm gonna go to school and print out the shorts pattern, and we'll get started on that. Yay! Just another angle of like the whole top situation. I'm so excited to have this finished. I can't wait to be actually wearing the real shorts that I'm going to be having on, because these shorts are just not it. It looks so good. It looks so good for where it is right now, and I'm so happy with it. Alright, so I went to school and I printed out my pattern. I then ate, so it's a little bit later in the day. It's 4 o'clock on the dot. So my hope is to get all of these pattern pieces pieced together and then maybe cut out so that we can start on the shorts tonight. That would be great. But I printed them out at school, and then I used the rotary cutter, or not the rotary cutter, the like slide cutter thing to cut off all of the excess, like on the paper. This pattern gives you a little bit of excess, so you can have the borders of the paper so you can see the pattern clearly and make sure that like nothing is getting messed up by the printer. So I cut that off. Now I am going to tape and cut, and then I will meet you guys back when I'm all finished. I love this pattern not only because it's so customizable, but because there were only 4 pattern pieces, so I barely had to cut out anything. It was so refreshing. As you can see, I was also watching the finale of the Mighty Nine campaign, so emotions were running high. Alright, so I have my pattern pieces cut out. I love this pattern. I found this wonderful woman online. She creates amazing patterns that are like super minimalistic but very fantasy driven, and these are her Darcy bloomers. I've made them once before with my sister. They're super easy, literally 4 pattern pieces, and it is super customizable. So that's the pattern that I am going to be using. I'll put her Instagram and the link to the pattern below in the description. But now I am going to start sewing on the gold ribbon to make the stripes in the fabric. After cutting out all those pattern pieces, I pinned my pattern pieces to my fabric, making sure to match the grains, making sure that I cut out as many pattern pieces as I needed, and then I got started on something that I actually didn't even finish doing, and I regretted doing this later, but I pinned all of the ribbon onto the fabric and actually sewed that down and ended up scrapping this later. So this was a good learning technique for me. I actually found this very meditative, but I did not need to do this. Also, there were many times where I had to pause and let my jaw get cleaned up from the floor because of what was happening on my laptop screen. Okay, so I have my 2 panels all striped out. It took forever, and I will say that was the most stressful thing in the world because I was watching the penultimate episode of campaign 2, and spoiler warning, Jester like died and then was brought back, and then Caleb went down, and then Caduceus went down and was brought back, and I'm just like over here freaking out while trying to sew, and then I ran out of thread. It was a whole thing, but we got them finished, and now we are going to move on to doing as much as we can until I have to go put stripes on things again.
Your eyes open for the first time.
Oh my god!
Stops. Later. Empty. Empty. Empty.
Oh my god. I can't. I can't. Oh my god.
Empty.
Molly.
What sucks is it's not Molly. I'm like halfway done with remaking the front because I didn't like how it looked. And I'm now sobbing my eyes out at what time is it? It's 9 p.m. Oh my god, I haven't cried like this in a very long time. And there's still one episode left and I know it's gonna kill me. Right, so as I said while I was sobbing, I redid the shorts the way that I actually made my sisters with the ribbons loose. I like it better the way that it sits this way. Wow, that sentence was great. I like the way this technique sits better. It just looks neater, it looks cleaner, it gives the shorts more dimension, but I have essentially the front and back of shorts and they are seamed together. So I'm gonna fold these up, I'm gonna clean up my workspace, and then we will finish these tomorrow because it is currently 10:30 and I'm so tired. I've been working on stuff all day and I don't want to accumulate a ton of burnout. So I'm gonna go to bed. I will see you all tomorrow. We're probably gonna start off by finishing these. And my sandpaper arrived, so I'll probably start sanding and painting the button. But I will see y'all tomorrow. Guys, they're done. I love them so much. There are just a few finishing touches that I need to do. I need to add some more elastic to the back. But other than that, I love them so much. The lighting sucks in my room, so the colors aren't true to what they are, but I'm obsessed with them. So I've done a lot, and I realized that I didn't film any of it because I kind of got into a flow. This is kind of everything where it's at put together right now. I love this. I think it's super cute. I have to sand and paint and glue the button and the needles, and then I have to embroider the bag and glue the straps onto the armor or onto the bracers. But other than that, I'm so happy with this. Like it looks so good. I'm very glad that I did the ribbons the way that I did. I'm very glad that I didn't go with my original plan, because I think that would have looked messy. But I'm so excited, and I'm going to clean up from sewing, and I'm going to start gluing and sanding. So I didn't really get to film this because my phone died, and then I plugged it in and I forgot to unplug it and set it up before doing this, but I have put my first coat on the button, which is lovely. I have started gluing my straps onto the big left arm bracer. I have super glued the big needle together, as well as sanded the needle points and the button, obviously. Sanded the needle little tops, the beads. I don't actually know what those are called. And then I also added some sharper points onto the ends of the needles because they felt a little stubby. But it is currently 9 o'clock and I have to be in the loop at a dentist appointment at 7:45. So I am calling it a night. I'm gonna head to bed. Night, guys. I will see you probably tomorrow. Hello. It is March 25th. Today at work, I finished the leaf satchel. I finished embroidering it. It took forever, but it was well worth it. I'm so glad I made the decision to embroider it. So the leaf satchel is now done. Today my plan is to try and get as much of the painting and the details done as I can, and maybe start wake styling, although I might leave that till tomorrow. It's my least favorite part, but I'm outside right now waiting for things to dry, so let me flip my camera around and I'll show you. Also, I'm in my painting shirt that some of you might recognize. This is an old school shirt that I was given like my freshman year, and while making my Pike cosplay, I covered it in paint. And I've kept it, and it's just now like my canvas shirt. But let me flip the camera around and I'll show you what's happening. So I'm currently outside because it's gorgeous. It's 70 degrees in late March, so this makes me very happy. But I've put a third coat of green on the button, and I've started the second coat of the gold. You can see where a portion of my Amazon bag that I was using to dry these on stuck to one of the globes. So that's fun, but I'll go over that with multiple layers if I need to, which I probably will. But then I'm just gonna keep layering this on, and then we'll start on the silver. Hello, good morning. It is March 26th. I wasn't able to record a lot last night because Louette got home on a red eye yesterday morning really early and did not sleep at all. So she was sleeping all day and I wanted to not wake her up, give the girl a chance to sleep. But I am on my lunch break from work and I am walking home, and we are going to do laundry. I have essentially everything finished for Thimble, which is lovely. I figured out a way that I'm going to use my own hair, which makes me so happy that I don't have to deal with a wig. Today, it's really just final finishing touches, getting everything ready for tomorrow, which is the first day of con. I've also decided to pull out my Pike cosplay from last year. Not the one that I wore to the con, but the one that I wore to the Critical Role live show, because I'm working the con actually on Sunday for the theater school, as I work in admissions and we have a booth there. So I was thinking it would be kind of fun to pull up in like full cause. Why not, right? But so I'm headed home to do laundry and get everything laid out for Pike and Thimble and put into bags so that I can quickly like grab that bag that morning and have everything set and ready. Get the Pike wig on the wig head so that I can style that tonight. I have a lot to do today. I get out of work at 5, then I have therapy at 5, and then after that I have to record some voiceover lines for a project that are due this weekend, so I won't have time to do them this weekend, so I have to do them tonight. So this hour is not gonna be lunch break for me. I'm gonna bring my lunch back to the office. This is gonna be a work hour. This is like Sarah Elise lock-in mode. So I will see you guys on the other side, and then tonight what I'll do is I'll put everything on and I'll give you guys like a good scope of what the cause looks like. I'm so proud of it. And then we're off to con weekend, and it's gonna be so fun. But I will see you guys later. So I have laid everything out for both causes. My whites for Pike are currently in the dryer, but everything's all laid out. I also organized all of my scrap fabric in both of my cosplay bins, which is great. Pike, her hair is actually held up really well. That's what I get for putting it in a silk bag. I just have to redo the bangs and the curls, which should be super easy. I should be able to get that done tonight, which is amazing. But I have to go back to work. This is what we've done today. I'm gonna put things in bags so that I can literally just grab and go. I have to get out the armor that I wanna wear for Pike. I'm still deciding which pieces I wanna wear. But other than that, we're completely set. I've just gotta decide on my outfit for tomorrow, which is gonna be casual. I'm not going in cosplay tomorrow. I'm excited! You guys, the cosplay's done. I'm so unbelievably proud of it. I fell in love with Thimble instantly, just like I fall in love with every single one of Laura Bailey's characters. And so being able to make this and be proud of it was really a big one for me. I'll also say it's stepping out of my comfort zone a little. I don't usually show my body a ton, especially in things like this, but I wanted to, and that made me really, really happy, and really proud of myself and like where I've come with my body positivity and everything. So
I am very eternally grateful for all that this process has taught me. A lot of patience, a lot of learning, once again, not to procrastinate like I normally do. But I'm so unbelievably proud of this project. I worked so hard on it. I think it's a work of love, and it may not be perfect, but that's kind of my style, and I love my not perfectness. But I'm so happy that I got to take you guys along, and I'm so excited to wear it on Saturday. I will be vlogging C2E2 like I did last year. So once that is uploaded, you guys will see a little info box there, and of course it'll be linked down in the description and probably on the end card. So please go check out that video. It's so fun to see all of that hard work come to fruition for me in an amazing weekend, and also like all the artists that I get to meet there. And I'm working this year at the theater school's booth, so it's gonna be really fun. So please do go check out that video, and I will see you all next time. Bye! She's all dressed and ready to go. Let's get a car and book it.
Wait, do you want to see the hood? Do you want to see the hood? Do you want to see the hood?
Look at her jingle. Jingle. Jingle.